welcome y'all to Backwoods Obscura, a podcast dedicated to the lore, legends, and myths surrounding the creatures that may lurk in your backyard. My name's Hewitt.
I'm Chris.
Hey, buddy, how you doing? It's been a month.
Yeah, it has been a month. You know what I'm doing? Paying thousands of dollars I don't have for car repair.
Oh, so you mean like what I was afraid of I was going to have, I think the last time we recorded was before Paracon.
Yeah, so
when the wheel fell off my car,
yeah,
like
so
three houses down from your street.
This was supposed to be like a post-Paracon where we talk about like that. No, the only thing that's happened since then has been car repairs, and I barely remember. Well, I remember it was pretty cool. I was hanging out with our friends.
Yeah, Paracon was super cool. And then you bailed on me, and I was just left at the bottom of the hill with my car with its one jank wheel in front of a house that had a shooting later on.
Oh, yeah, it did have a shooting
later
on.
Yeah, it did.
You know what? That was like prostitution related.
They're making movies down your street?
Prostitution.
Yeah, that doesn't mean they weren't making movies.
Oh, I get it. That kind of... Right. No. And I feel like I'm cursed because... your car, the wheel falls off.
Yeah, so for the listeners, my axle broke at the bottom of his street and then decided it needed to go like, I don't know, 30 degrees to the left.
Like, it might as well have just popped off.
If it had popped off, it actually would have caused less damage because there is a solid chance there's body damage, but they can't do body work at the dealership.
Right.
They can't even pop back in the safety decorative plastic, but you can't really notice that that's disconnected unless you're right up on it. But you want to know why I'm happy about that?
You didn't pay for it.
I did not pay a fucking dime. It was all the extended warranty.
Yeah. So about a week or so after that happened, we had the break. We had a break from what we usually do because, Easter and all that. My car goes in the shop. I'm like sitting there like, okay, it's kind of shaky, might be like the axle's not, or like the alignment's off or something like that. Struts, the
Rotors,
the brake pads, the shock or the suspension. They're like, yeah, you're driving in a death trap. It's like, you can get this fixed now.
Or die, or you could die.
$3,400, or you can like not have a car,
or you could just die. Like you're gonna be out at the bottom of the hill, and you're just gonna keep going.
Yeah. And like for those listening at home, it's like, why haven't you fixed the car? It's like money.
Have you seen this economy?
Yeah, I mean, every year I'm like, I need to get last year I got a lot of repairs done.
Well, how old is your car again?
My car is a 2009 Chevy Cobalt, so it's.
Yeah, there's going to be some...
it's been a primary car for me for, like, most of that. I've delivered when I was at the pizza place I worked at.
You got this one right after you got rid of your Lexus.
Yeah. Technically, it's the second car I've ever owned. I've only owned two cars in my life.
So, just got to say this. Still got the Mazda 2001 Dual Sport extended cab.
I am telling you right now, like... you made this. This is why when you made this whole thing about like, maybe I'll go on the camping trip if we all go together in your car. The reason why I'm apprehensive is because I go to the Angola,
rodeo.
Yeah, go to the Angola rodeo. It was fine. A lot of boomer jokes. A lot of my wife. Ooh, it's like the sexist old boomer jokes from the rodeo.
Is it one of those like? The key to happiness is a woman, but also the key to misery is a woman.
Well, it was a lot of like, you want to know the happiest time of my life? When I had divorce papers. It's like, okay, dude, I get it. You hate women, I guess.
You and the Zoomers, all the Zoomer boys.
But it's like, it was okay. And it was also kind of jarring because, nice jovial atmosphere. And then you see a bunch of dudes in a fucking pen.
Yeah, like in prison. Like, did you at least go through the artist alley there?
I went through the artist alley and I went through all the craftsmanship. I want one of the grills they make up there.
Oh no, the welding program. Like, okay, for anyone outside of the state of Louisiana, Angola is the largest federal penitentiary in the state. It has a population, as of the last time I checked, 18,325.
We know a couple of people in there.
I have family in there. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, I hate to say this. Louisiana is a 3 strikes as you're out kind of state. So, if you get your 3rd strike, there's a high chance you're going to go to Angola. At one point, Angola had 22,000, and that's when they got in trouble for using the Korean War era tents outside, and like two-thirds of the prisoners got yellow fever or got God, it wasn't influenza. What was Zika? Not Zika. Zika's for babies. They got the other one of the other diseases you get from mosquitoes biting you, and it's because they literally were just like on
not mad cow. Fuck.
No. It was they were on three stack racks inside Korean War tents with
it's the West Nile.
Yes, there we go.
West Nile.
Yeah, there we go. So also, by the way, for anybody that's also listening, Louisiana is the prison capital of the United States. We have 3 or 4 men's federal prisons, 2 women federal prisons, plus a state prison in every parish. And we currently accept prisoners from other states for about $25,000 a person. About the only inmate we did not accept was our former governor Edwin Edwards, which we paid Texas to take.
That's funny. We also don't endorse our prison system.
We do not endorse the prison system in the state of Louisiana whatsoever. So it's just kind of weird because like we talked about this before we streamed like weeks ago when you were going to go to the Angola prison rodeo, that we both felt like, yeah, okay, part of us are like, yeah, like this is a huge thing in the state, and like this is part of Louisiana culture. And then immediately it's like, oh.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like there are aspects of it. Like I am someone, and we're gonna kind of get off on a derailment here. But I'm someone that's all about prison reform, even to some people's chagrin when I talk about it, because there's a lot of people here. Even my wife was like, you know, there's a level of like dehumanization we do to like people we perceive as felons or criminals.
100% we do that.
And I tend to advocate for like rehabilitation methods.
Like if you have a drug addiction, or you were selling drugs, or you were stealing radios out of cars, or like, hey, you busted into an abandoned house to get the copper out. That's like let's get you rehabilitated and let's teach you a trade, which, to be fair, a lot of our prisons for non-violent offenders.
Even Angola has programs.
Have like the P farm here where we live at, the Richwood Correctional Facility.
That means penal farm if you haven't listened to our P farm episode.
But they have a welding program. Now, my problem is that they rent their welding inmates out, and then they keep 85% of the profit from their pay. Like, here's my thing. Like, I am not opposed to hard labor in a prison, but they get full pay so that when they leave, they hand them either cash or a check.
Well, you know, a lot of people that go into... I'm sorry, we're also dealing with stuff.
There might be an air show going on. Like, I think it was a Darawan episode, and we had a fucking jet fly like 20 feet above the trees here, and we're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
But
getting back into the Angola prison rodeo, it was fine. I got to talk to some of the convicts. They were nice. I don't know what they did. I didn't really care. I murdered 15 men. Do you want this belt? It's like, do you want this? What was weird to me is there's not a lot of Jesus stuff.
I'm going to say this. From what I've seen people post about the Angola rodeo and all that, usually there's actually not. One of the coolest things I've ever seen made at the prison rodeo is like there was a whole like leather working section.
Dude, they got
there's like so many dudes that had done belts and wallets, but there's one guy like the only thing he had was a $2,000 saddle, and he tooled and made a full Sheridan saddle.
Dude, like when I say that there was like, when I was looking around, there were so many times where I was like, man, I wish Hewitt was here to come see this. And I told Ruby that it's like, don't stop talking about your boyfriend. But also,
Yeah, that our wives. Okay, Ruby did not make it tonight, but if she had, I was gonna force her and Emily in here to talk on the mics, because my wife and his wife have both made the joke that we are boyfriends, and neither one of us give a fuck.
But there was like so much stuff, like from the woodworking to the leatherworking. Like it was all fucking amazing.
Well, I hate to say it this way, all they got is time.
Yeah. But getting back into what I was saying, so when we were leaving, we went through like some bumpy ass roads, and then leaving, it took us 2 hours to get out of the parking lot.
2 hours to get out of the parking lot?
Because the parking lot is deep inside Angola, and where the rodeo is, it's like its own area.
Oh, that's right.
And they were coordinating everyone getting in, but they were basically playing with themselves, doing like the people that coordinate the event. They weren't coordinating people getting out, and someone kept hitting my roommate's car. Like literally bumping the bumper,
bumping them to try to get them to move along.
Yeah, it's like we can't.
Fucking hell, people. I mean, like, okay.
I was about to get out of the car and be like, "Yo,
we about to all be staying in Angola."
Yeah, we're about to just walk over there. Because...
I'm gonna punch you, and they're just gonna put us in C block.
But we get home. I get my car in because I was gonna send my car in anyway.
Yeah,
$3,400 fix. And my whole thing is like, I'm gonna get it fixed because I'm not gonna be able to afford a car in the next, like, paying off that fix is going to be less expensive.
Paying off $3,400 for a car fix versus paying $500 to $600 a month, unless like I pay almost $400 for the now fixed Escape, but that's because I also traded in a car they really wanted with that Civic.
Yeah, the Civic was a nice car.
Not gonna lie, Emily originally wanted a Honda Pilot, the bigger SUV.
Yeah,
and that's what they gave us as a rental for 3 days. I kind of want one now, but I don't want to pay $46,000.
That's fair.
I don't want to pay the same amount as my parents paid for their house that I grew up in.
So my car gets fixed, and her car started doing some stuff shortly after we got back from Angola, and she gets it to the shop. It turns out the engine
is kaput.
Yeah. Like, so she had it transferred to the Hyundai dealership here.
Because she has a Hyundai?
Yeah. And...
Wait, is that the one that's over on I-20?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that dude.
And so she can get it fixed by recall, but she was like, you know what? This is the second time I've had it go in for an engine issue in the same year, because she got the recall done in February.
Uh-huh.
And it's breaking down now. So she's like, I'm just going to get a new car. And so I
recommend a Honda Pilot.
You can tell her, yeah. The thing is, one of the reasons why I'm scared of like me and Ruby like piling into your car is I feel like shortly after, because every time we've gone out of town, there's been this year. I
get that, but like I think the truck's okay.
You say that now.
I say that now, but I think the truck's okay.
But anyway, what
are we actually talking about? Like, we've talked about cars, and you know what? Mini first. I can't see how many minutes over there on the
it's
computer.
Probably like 10 minutes. We
mini thing of like, I think that a little bit of obscura is information about the Angola prison rodeo. That actually would be a pretty good full episode.
Yeah. To be clear, it's like it when it comes to the Angola prison, there's a lot of good things about it with a sea of bad things.
Way more bad. Like, okay, it's roughly the geographic area that the prison takes up is about the size of a standard town. Like, it's about 4 or 5 miles across.
By design.
With all the property. It's also on the Mississippi River. which, fun fact, there's an uncounted number of prisoners that have drowned in that river. There used to be the Angola hounds, which were a separate breed of bloodhound bred just for Angola.
The funny that you mentioned that. They had Pauls up there, in which convicts train and.
Oh my god, the convicts train the fucking dogs to find them?
I don't think it's that. I just think because they had a wolfhound. They had.
Wait, hold on. Do they got like a pupper rehabilitation program for the prisoners?
I think it's that.
Okay, I love that.
They had a female dog that looked just like Artax. Like the only difference is she was a little bit smaller than Artax, but she had like the same.
Okay,
like,
you do realize how much of a bitch for wolfhounds I am, right? Like
my dog isn't a wolfhound. They also had like a lab mix there that would be like my dog, but
I am repeatedly told by my wife I'm not allowed to get a 7-foot tall dog when it stands on its hind legs because I would insist it sleeps with us, and then Emily would just go sleep in another room because it would take up so much of the bed.
They had a few dogs walking around. They also had really good Boudin balls there.
Poor Boudins. They castrate them.
Anyway, so
no, but anyway, what I was trying to say is that the prison is geographically and population-wise the size of a small
and it's
city.
in a swamp, which is topical because I actually want to talk about a swamp.
Okay. What swamp?
Have you heard of Manchac Swamp?
Yes, I have. Manchac is a wonderful place. Before you hit the I-10 causeway going towards New Orleans, there is a
on Lake Pontchartrain.
Yep, there is a restaurant named Middendorf's that we need to try. I have not been to Middendorf's in a hot minute, but I know they make good burgers, and you like seafood, and they serve fried oysters and fried shrimp in a giant pile.
Have you heard the legend of Julia Brown?
Yes. I know the name. I know what it is, the Manchac. I don't know all the details.
Okay. So, just so we get a little bit of... to introduce people to this is Manchac Swamp is located approximately 30 minutes northwest of New Orleans. It's known for, it is the quintessential Louisiana swamp. Cypress trees, deep wetlands.
Elevated houses. People have boats, not cars.
Like, if you ever go, people call it, there's actually a place in Louisiana called Venice, but there are more places like Venice.
100%. Like, if you ever go down I-55, you will go through Manchac, and for about 15 minutes before you get to the lake, you will not see what you would consider a standard built home. You will see probably 2-3 bedroom homes that are 15 feet above the ground on a whole bunch of steel pylons.
Yeah. And Manchac, also known as Ghost Swamp, does have here's the thing. There's a lot of places in Louisiana that are especially swamps that have associations with the supernatural or paranormal or, ghost stories and things like that. Because if you live out in the swamp, it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, there's alligators and creepy crawlies and it's a wet, dense forest. If you're actually out in the swamp, just like any other forest, it can be...
Let's throw out there that even during the day, if you end up in a mangrove, a cypress knees, I know mangrove is a tree type and it's a different thing, but that's the only way I can describe it. Because have you ever fallen out of a boat in the cypress knees?
Yeah.
It's terrifying because even if it's only 2 feet deep, there's just stuff everywhere touching you underwater you can't see.
Yeah.
But also just walking around in waist deep water.
Yeah, because water in swamps is stagnant and it's filled with just about anything you can think of.
And stuff moves.
Stuff gets mad. You step on a catfish.
They make it your problem.
Yeah.
You step on an alligator.
They make it your problem.
It might not be your problem for long.
You might not have any more problems.
You step on a pirate that was left behind by Jean Lafitte. That's a fou filet. He's just gonna
come on,
bruh,
man.
bruh.
Come on. But yeah, so the Ghost Swamp like many swamps here in Louisiana, are known for their supernatural connotations and things like that. But this one in particular is known for the legend of Julia Brown, also known as Julia Black, Julia White. But her birth name is Julia Bernard. She married into the Brown name.
Bernard is such an actual common name in this state, and I didn't realize that until we started doing the podcast.
Isn't it I mean, it's a French.
Well, yeah. But I'm just saying, is like, we have a few Bernards up here. Just like we got Broussards up here.
Yeah.
And then when you go down south, there's like...
a billion.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I didn't even know Broussard was like a French name until recently. Now, Julia Brown's legacy is one tied to both catastrophe, and it's also tied to mystery, as she was, one, considered to be a voodoo queen, for one, a healer, and also one to curse 2 towns to the point to where they are no longer towns.
Okay, I now know the story you're talking about, and I'm so down for this. I'm so excited for more info on this. I see the stack that is stapled together. I am excited. You did some good research here, didn't you?
I did a little bit.
Also, let's see what else. No, with this is that why is it always that voodoo queens and healers are the is a cleric nothing more than a positive affirmation to someone that does something?
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to get into this a little bit later, but the biggest thing is, like, at one point in the 1700s, voodoo and voodoo and hoodoo were more accepted, and as you get closer to the Civil War and post-slavery, there was a Christian resurgence that a lot of people in the South started eschewing anything voodoo related and casting it as evil. In fact, there was actually a point in time when voodoo and hoodoo were illegal in New Orleans.
Well, yeah, I knew that, but like, here's the thing that always, this is one of those things that grinds my gears or really, really chafes my denim to make it more Southern, is why is it okay now, but then all of a sudden something happens and you gotta be all about religion, and so now the thing that you've always done, that's always been an element of your city, has to be, well, it's bullshit.
It is bullshit. I think a part of it was, and this is me as a non-historical person, someone who's a dipshit from Louisiana, I think a part of it was the part of the Christian, quote, resurgence, and the rejection of voodoo and hoodoo at the time was probably a reaction to the emancipation of Black Americans.
Well, the thing is like, okay, let's take that. Well, hold on. When you're a slave owner, the slave's religion is neat.
Yeah.
Like, you get what I mean by that? It's like, it's a quirkiness.
It's like, oh, that's fun. They're doing a thing.
They're doing this, and hey, like, oh, wait, I have a headache. If I go down there, Meemaw is gonna, like, give me some little poultice, and I take it, and my headache's gone. And I trust her, but then, like, all of a sudden, they're no longer my property, and this seems...
Yeah, they're no longer your property. They're emancipated, and they can use these skills
against you. Like, that's the thing, is, like, it became a... Like, beforehand, it was a oddity, it was a quirkiness. Now it could possibly be a threat. And that's...
I mean, a perceived threat in the sense that they cannot use that for their own gain.
Yeah, at the same time, this seems like a bitch move.
Yeah. I mean... It's frustrating, but it's also part of history.
It is what it is. Yeah. It is what it is.
So the early history of these settlements is the early 20th century settlements in the swamp included Fournier, Roanoke, and Napton. These communities were accessible primarily by the Illinois Central Rail Line.
Oh, my grandfather worked for that one.
Now, Fournier specifically started out as a logging company. But transitioned into farming cabbage and sauerkraut production.
Do you know?
So it was a sauerkraut producing little settlement on the edge of Lake Pontchartrain, which is so Louisiana, because it's like, yeah, you hear about French, Creole, Spanish, and all that shit, but there's like Irish and Italians and Germans.
Well, one of the things we want to look into that I know we mentioned in a previous podcast is the very large Filipino communities that were along Lake Pontchartrain when the Spanish took over the state.
And actually, something with this might actually, I think, will help explain why you don't see as much. Ruddock included a sawmill, hotel, post office, and schoolhouse. Now, this is about it for these two small towns.
I mean, they had a school, man. Yeah. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Now, I didn't have much on Napton, except that it really doesn't exist anymore. I believe it doesn't exist anymore, anyway.
The city of Napton comes at us.
Yeah.
All 16.
Like, we're still here? It's like, I don't know why they're talking.
Why'd you make them sound like... I feel like they'd at least be cursing us in, like, French.
Or German. Mm-hmm. But these towns relied on local economy, and access was limited to train transportation, obviously. The workforce included towns in both white and black laborers, though less documented. Of course, there was tensions between the white and black laborers in the town, especially during the time we're talking about with Julia Brown, who was born I believe, about 20 years before the Civil War and the emancipation of slaves.
Now, was she a free woman of color, or was she of Anglo descent?
She was a free woman of color. She was a Creole woman. She was born in 1845. Wait,
Yeah, that's about 15 years before the war.
Yeah, I'm bad at math, you know. In the town, she was known for her healing and she was also a midwife, of course. She lived in Fernier and was married to Celestin Brown, who was her husband until he died at 1914.
Well, that's a pretty decent length for their marriage.
Yeah, and her original name, of course, was Bernard, and she was also known as Julia Bernard Brown, or just Julia Bernard. Some oral history later referred to her as a voodoo priestess, though the historical accounts are more accurately described as a traitor. Traitor is it's a French term, Traiter, healer. Now, she had served these towns for up until her death in, I believe, 1915. And she apparently did so faithfully as a healer, as a midwife, and she did this without asking for any money. She just, I mean, it is a small town. We're talking about like sub 100 people towns here. Yeah. I mean, it's practically a village, and she was like the main person that they would go to for any sort of ailments. And despite that, she had, for one reason or another, had gained the reputation of potentially being malevolent. I think it could be any number of reasons for that. Maybe she just had bad bedside manner, or, just was very blunt with people.
She gave you a bad gree when you pissed her off.
Yeah, or something like that. Well, like, here's the thing. She was married in the town, and she was also, she would travel 30 miles to go and to Ruddock to help the people of Ruddock, as well as, the people in Fernier. So it's not like she hated anybody. I mean, you don't do that for mostly free, as in, like, she probably traded for her services. But even still, she's doing a lot for these people. So she spent most of her life doing that. And after her husband died, up until her death, she was actually only recorded on her property, which she inherited from Celestin, who was also a free man of color, who had gotten from the government 40 acres.
Did they give him his mule?
I actually didn't see anything about a mule, but he did get the 40 acres.
One of the few people that got the 40 fucking acres.
Yeah, one of the few people who got the 40 fucking acres, which, if you don't know, that was one of the promises made by the U.S. government.
40 acres and a mule.
to freed black slaves post Civil War, or was
It was post Civil War.
Yeah.
It was for the freedmen were supposed to get 40 acres and a mule. This was, I believe, established by Sherman's military order of starting to redistribute land under his military command to free people of color. I shouldn't say free people of color, but the freedmen. However, Andrew Johnson, one of our worst presidents, rescinded that.
of course.
Here's my deal.
Like he was the one that essentially just destroyed.
He didn't completely destroy Reconstruction. He fought with Congress over who should control it. So there was Lincoln's plan and Congress's plan, and then Johnson was sort of in the middle. But probably the reason that more Confederate leaders were not hung
because of Johnson.
But I mean, the thing is that they all knew fucking each other. They all fucking knew each other. Like,
right? Yeah.
Like finding out that Judah Benjamin or fucking Robert E. Lee knew somebody in DC that would have like vouched for them, like they're a decent dude, to make sure they didn't die. I mean, Lee got paroled, but I mean, like anybody in the Confederate government could have found somebody to vouch for them. That's the thing.
Yeah. So she would spend the rest of her days, kind of keeping to herself, and she would be singing on the porch when people would see her.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly, she would sing these very unsettling tunes out, and one of the lyrics is purported to say, "When I die, I'll take the whole town with me."
This is like the best blues album ever, is what you're telling me.
1915.
Oh shit!
So
hold on, are we about to get like some Yazoo City Witch type shit here?
We're about to get some. About to get to one of the most prolific natural disasters in Louisiana before Katrina. So 1915, a Category 4 hurricane struck the southeast Louisiana September 29th, 1915. Winds reached 125 miles per hour, and there was a 13-foot storm surge.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. And note, all the towns in Frenier and Ruddock, all the buildings are up. Frenier, Ruddock, and Napton were all destroyed. Approximately 60 people died locally, with regional fatalities exceeding 300. It was so bad that a mass grave was used for the victims. Brown was buried separately in a small cemetery. Now, the towns of Frenier, Ruddock, and Napton, after this, do not exist. Frenier is considered, like if you go to the Wikipedia page, it is considered a ghost town.
Is there any structure left of Frenier?
I don't think, I think there's very little, and I think a lot of it is underwater at this point. Because it is, I believe it was on the edge, but storm devastated communities that lacked adequate storm warning, of course, and protective engine. Most victims of working class families and the dead included were both white and black residents, with black laborers and residents being those who were often excluded from relief efforts and formal records.
That tracks.
The hurricane's impact highlighted racial disparities and early... Like, here's the thing. It highlighted racial disparities in early 20th century Louisiana. What did Katrina do? Highlighted racial disparities in 21st century Louisiana. So it wasn't much different. I mean, it almost happened nearly 100 years after.
It's kind of a mirror, and the thing is there's like 2 hurricanes in between those that still did the exact same thing, because when it's a marginalized community that gets it, like think about freaking North Carolina right now.
Yeah,
they're being denied funds, and there's people sending videos like, hey, the whole fucking side of the mountain fell off because of the hurricane, we need help.
Okay. Did you see that video from North Carolina where it was like just a little bit in the road, 2 hours later it's up even more, and then the next thing you see is like this giant river just like 3 or 4 feet from their house.
Exactly. I mean, the thing is like, I'm talking about the people who are like showing videos right now on TikTok and other social media of what it looks like now.
Yeah.
And like, they try to post inspirational, like, oh, look at the rest of the mountains. They're so beautiful. North Carolina is still beautiful. I'm like, yeah, it's still beautiful. But like, if my house is under 15 feet of fucking dirt, like, I'm going to enjoy the beauty for 15 seconds before I'm like, oh shit, my PlayStation.
Or just, oh shit, my entire life is...
Yeah, I mean, I tried to make it funny.
Yeah. But...
we know she cheated PlayStation.
Of course, like, things like this, we've already said it, highlighted racial disparities with, more affluent white people getting more relief aid than, the black victims. But... we get into the curse.
Oh, I'm down for this.
So, when this happened, Julia Brown had already died, and there were some reports of her having a funeral, or she was about to be buried. She was in her coffin.
And then shit hit.
Yeah. So apparently, she was going to be buried. She was in her coffin, and then everything hit, and then they found her body. They never found the casket or the coffin.
She didn't like it anyway.
She was like, whatever.
You know what? I don't like chartreuse.
Yeah.
I'm more of a mahogany kind of girl.
Yeah. Chartreuse seems like a very gaudy color for
I mean, it's green.
Yeah. Like, every time I hear chartreuse, I hear it in the context of fishing. But the curse is the legend.
This boat is chartreuse.
This boat is chartreuse.
The lures are chartreuse. That fish is chartreuse. Throw it back. That's not natural.
The curse of chartreuse.
My anus is chartreuse.
I have gangrene.
This is why you don't eat Chipotle and then pound it with a Baja Blast.
Because you're gonna Baja Blast your ass, am I right?
And
gamers?
then you're gonna have a chartreuse anus.
Okay,
what
so the legend of
what the fuck is wrong with us?
Julia Brown's curse developed I hate this word. Posthumously. I knew how to pronounce it, but my brain was like, "You're gonna pronounce it."
Dude, this is like
wrong.
me every time I have to write down the word neighbor. Okay, I get it. I don't judge.
Gaining popularity as oral history as decades followed the storm. Many elements of the curse center around the refrain of Julia alleging that she would take the town with her when she died. Note that she did die around the time.
None of y'all paying your bills back. Take the city with me.
Residents reportedly heard her saying repeatedly in the days or weeks leading up to the hurricane. Brown died on the day of the 1915 hurricane, as I said, or shortly before, and her funeral was reportedly taking place as the storm made landfall.
That's the P-51 going over.
Yeah.
The only reason I know that is because it has P-51 written on the wing. That is a hell of a death curse.
Yeah. The storm destroyed multiple towns, killing many people who may have attended her funeral or lived nearby. I mean, of course. But, so, like, the main reason why people believe that she might have cursed the town is the idea that she was resentful of the town for taking her skills and abilities for granted.
They treated her poorly. They gave her a bad Yelp review.
Yeah. And she was like, fuck this town. Fuck this town.
Fuck you, chicken strips.
I'm just going to bury it. So it turned into a tale of supernatural retribution, connecting Brown's death with divine justice or magical revenge. Variations emphasize themes of wrath, unheeded warnings, and eerie prophecy. And of course, some of this is escalated by the regional folklore and tourism in the area. Of course, there is a tourist attraction when it comes to this. So,
if you could say that, like, one lady got pissed and destroyed the whole city, that'd be really cool. Now,
today, as I've said before, the Manchac swamp is supposed to be haunted, and not just with Julia Brown. It's with the people of Frenier, Ruddock, and all those who died.
Did she trap all their souls?
I mean, I guess. I didn't really see much about that. It's just more like... Yeah, so apparitions of a woman in white near the water's edge of course. Unexplained sounds of laughter, hymns, whispers, and phantom train noises. Which, actually, a phantom train noise would be fucking freaky in the middle
Oh no,
of
it'd be
the song.
terrifying. But also, there's 4 train rails that go around
Yeah, there's
Lake
a lot.
Pontchartrain. So I mean, and
There's a lot of-
acoustics are fucking weird. So like, you could hear a train that's on the other side of the lake, and Lake Pontchartrain is 20+ miles wide.
I mean, Pontchartrain is a very, like, if you've ever driven over, like, a large... I say that as if every other state has, like, a large fucking causeway in the middle of the lake. Like, if you go over any of the causeways, there's some weird light and sound tricks happening.
And to be fair, we decided to build a bridge through the dead center of fucking Lake Pontchartrain for no goddamn reason.
Yeah. Like, you can technically... I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see, like if you look at... If you're going over part of the causeway, not the dead center causeway over Pontchartrain, one of the ones on the side, you can see, like, some cities that are miles away.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing about going over the causeway in the middle, I think that's the Huey Long Bridge that's in the middle of
I believe
Lake
it's called
Pontchartrain.
the...
You can see the curvature of the earth.
Yeah, because it's like...
When you get out more towards the middle of Lake Pontchartrain, you can see the curvature of the earth on it. And, like, that's how big it is. Like, I mean, it's not like Lake Michigan or Lake Huron that are big enough to be fucking seas, but, like, Pontchartrain is not a small... honestly, it's not actually a lake. It's technically an estuary.
Yeah, I mean, because it's an open lake.
It does have high and low tides.
Yeah. So, again, we go over that. We get to our best things, sightings of lights. Of course, we know that as the Will-O-Wisp or the Foo-Filet.
The Foo-Filet.
And also the Rougarou, our good Cajun boy, is supposed to be down in the...
Kyle's over there?
Yeah, Kyle... That's his second home, man.
Yeah, Knox is just running over there, right?
Yeah, he just goes out there. Sometimes he just needs a smoke break. He goes over to Manchac Swamp, and then someone's like, "Who's that?" And he's like,
God damn it.
"Get out of here."
I just came here to smoke and have a whiskey.
It's like, I went to the local game store and got lost.
I went to buy some Warhammer. Oh god, that's why the Rougarou is so mad. It's everybody, like, for so long they knew about Warhammer, but it didn't exist yet.
The Rougarou is mad because he just wants to go to the local game shop and just,
See if
indulge
there's
in nerd hobbies.
See if there's any rares in the packs.
Yeah, go. It's like, I think I'll try some Magic the Gathering, and then everyone's like, "Oh my god, a giant wolf!" And he's like, "God damn it,
I just want Cloud as my commander."
I'm ready for the Final Fantasy packs. I've played Final Fantasy VII.
Have you seen Red 13? That's my boy.
Yeah. He's my favorite one. And Ifrit. I love Ifrit. And everyone's gone, and he's just sitting there like...
Well, free magic packs.
Free magic packs. I got all the collector boosters. Anyway, skeptical perspectives. So, contemporary accounts of Julia Brown describe her as a respected community member. So, it's suspected that the whole idea that she was malevolent or did not like the town was... Say that word again, please. Posthumously given on or put on her. Because, I think a part of it was like, hey, we're going to create this story about her. Not only was the idea that, she was bitter or resentful towards the town happened after her death, the association of the curse was also mostly done after her death. So,
I mean, that makes sense, because
yeah.
if you had a healer that you also are like saying might be kind of hinky, and then a hurricane hit like days after she died, I'm sitting there going like, as a bard myself,
it's time to make a story.
Oh my god, you at some point, Chris, you now have to play a southern bard that's like 100% just like, as like stereotypical, like, I do declare, bless your heart, I cast vicious mockery when I said bless your heart. Oh my God, bless your heart is a great vicious mockery.
Oh, bless your heart. Are you good? Okay, so the legend of Julia Brown may have emerged to catch. Oh my God, my fucking tongue may have emerged to contextualize the trauma of the 1950s storm. Of course, when it comes to like the song, even if she did actually sing that, she might not have meant literally she's going to take the town with her. It might have just been a metaphorical sense of like, I'm the only healer in town.
If I go, y'all fucked.
Yeah, that might be what she was talking. She might have not been like, hey, I'm going to take this town with me.
Hey, you know how like Dr. Roussard tells you that it's just lady problems, and I'm over here telling you that you legit have an ovarian cyst?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm gone, the whole town's going with me because you got to rely on the dude who's like, oh, women problems.
Yeah, you're going to have to rely on RFK Jr.
Did you drink your laudanum?
Did you drink your laudanum?
Did you take your cocaine for that toothache there?
Did you get your Radithor? Get your nice Radithor for your back pain.
That rots your fucking jaw off.
Oh no, the jaw fell off. Oh, goodbye, jaw.
You now have radioactive syphilis. It mutated.
Radioactive syphilis, and you got holes in your head. Anyway, so Bloody Mary of New Orleans. I know.
Look, I have to actually make a slight retraction. She is actually accredited and acknowledged widely within the voodoo community to know what she is actually doing. Yeah. I'm sorry that my prejudice about a middle-aged white lady being declared the voodoo queen of New Orleans skewed my view of what she does. Also, I'm not going to take back that minus the welded shut crock pot or Dutch oven, everything else in the museum's fucking fake.
Yeah, okay.
And,
like
until we go there and I get proven wrong, because I'm ready for that.
Bloody Mary pointed out that our traditional Creole and African-based spiritual practices were often mischaracterized as voodoo by outsiders, and she also noted that practices are generally protective or healing in nature that are associated with, and any association with curses is mostly a cultural misunderstanding, or like stereotypes about voodoo and hoodoo practitioners. There's also no evidence that she was a voodoo practitioner, more so than just, someone that knew a good bit of... It's like...
If she knew apothecary, she would have been labeled as a voodoo priestess.
It's like the granny magic.
Right.
I think that would be a better label for Julia Brown. She was someone who was very knowledgeable.
She knew herbal cures.
Yeah.
You chew on this bark, it hurts less.
Yeah. So, with that in mind, so what do you think of Julia Brown and her?
She destroyed the city of Frenier because they were fucking assholes. She cast Typhoon as she died.
She was like Storm. She was just like, but she was only Storm for that one moment, and then she died.
I was trying to make another Final Fantasy reference with...
Yeah, I know. And then I made an X-Men reference.
And or she cast Remove.
Yeah, she did cast Renew. She's like, you know what? Y'all aren't taking care. I am tired of eating sauerkraut.
You fed me sauerkraut. None of y'all paid me. I'm out. Hurricane. No. No. My thing is I think it's honestly, here is a lady that served a function in the community. And one of those functions eventually would be scapegoat, as many a times the quote unquote witches are. And when she died slightly before a hurricane, like, I'm going to say this, super convenient move. I think she just died in a hurricane hit, and then people go, what happened? Did you disrespect Julia? I made fun of her dress one time. Motherfucker.
That's what happened.
That's what I believe is that she died at the right time, quote unquote, when a tragedy happened, and then people looking for a reason for why this happened,
kind of just associated,
went with it. Like, because I won't lie, I was going to do this one at some point because I love this concept. Like, she was mad and a whole city went down. I'm like, I need more on this.
I mean, I think also it's just, throughout the years, it got picked up by tourists, our tourism industry, and, people around there that want to, like, build up the mystique of Louisiana.
It's a good story, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really good story.
Also, Haunted History and Ghost Adventures have also done TV specials here in the Manchac Swamp. But my sources are Mental Floss, The Legend and Truth of the Voodoo Priestess Who Haunts a Louisiana Swamp, Historic New Orleans Collection, Julia Brown's Curse and the Storm That Swamped Ruddock, Fox A. WVUE, Ruddock and the September 29th, 1915 Hurricane, La Bazeptiere, I did not pronounce that right, Heroes of the Hurricane of 1915, Zip Nola and Crescent City Kayak Tours, Local Folklore and Tourist Accounts.
But you can take a kayak tour through there?
Yeah.
That actually sounds fun.
Bloody Mary, the New Orleans Voodoo Tours and Lectures, Commentary and Analysis. And also Wikipedia, just for like stuff like Ruddock, 1915 Hurricane, and for near Louisiana. That's everything I got, and this is Backwoods Obscura. We release every Tuesday. We are now currently on Patreon. Yay!
Yeah, mostly so you can give us feedback.
Mostly so you can give us feedback. We do not have any sort of monetary setup on
I was
that
about to say we accept tips, but Chris doesn't have that set up.
Like, we do accept tips, but as of right now, we're just trying to gauge who listens to the podcast and what we can do better to kind of grow the podcast, because we are interested in doing that. We are going to be on. We got some social media on both Facebook and Blue Sky set up. We're going to be doing that a little bit more. We're not going to be on Twitter because we're not a big fan.
Fuck that. I am doing stuff for us on my personal TikTok.
Yeah, if you want to go and do TikTok, what are we on TikTok?
Well, it was underneath Backwoods Obscura. I can change it back to that.
I mean, if you want to change
I think it's under my name right now.
Oh, it's under his name. It's
No,
I'm not gonna.
No, don't dox me.
No, I was gonna be even meaner. I was gonna use your first name, and
I do not use my government name.
Or I'll be like that one guy. What was it?
God,
that advisor?
My college advisor that called me and gave me a nickname for my first name. I was like, I didn't expect to get pissed about this, but now I hate you. We are also Team Bonus Action. Team Bonus Action is a group of friends who play on currently Sundays and Mondays playing tabletop games, mostly D&D, but we also play other tabletop games. And cannot speak for Team Bonus Action right now, as we do not have the charity clerics helping us out on this. But us here at Backwoods Obscura, we'd greatly appreciate it if you would possibly donate to the ACLU or to the Trevor Project to help transgender youth have a place to stay and help continue the fight for civil rights, which right now
is important,
is necessary, because we have due process and other rights being violated left and right. So if you can donate, we would greatly appreciate it. If you can't, we understand, because 2025 so far has been a hell of a year. And has no signs of stopping.
Yeah.
So pay it forward, help out some kids. Also, we always will recommend that you donate to St. Jude so that childhood cancer can be defeated and parents do not have to worry about paying for medical costs for the children.
And with that, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, all that bullshit. You know what to do. And thank you for listening. And I hope you have a good day or night or whatever time it is over there.
Hey, Chris, how high was that typhoon materia that Julia Brown used?
It was like 15, 20 feet. Wipe them out.